Today, we take a closer look at President-elect Trump assembling a new cabinet and what changes it could bring to South Korea. Our political correspondent Shin Ha-young joins us here in the studio. Welcome, Ha-young.
Thanks for having me.
What changes are expected from Trump's America First approach?
Well, so major economic changes are expected under President-elect Donald Trump's America First approach, which focused on countering China and promoting business-friendly policies. And the Korea Chamber of Commerce and Industry outlined potential impacts by using the letters in Trump's name to highlight key areas of concern. So here, T stands for tariffs on imports to protect the U.S. economy, and R for a return to fossil fuels, U for uncertainty in high-tech industries, and M for changes in monetary policy, while P stands for personal diplomacy, hinting at potential talks with North Korea. And Trump has emphasized reducing the U.S. trade deficit, proposing a 60% tariff on Chinese goods and a 10 to 20% so-called universal tariff on other imports, raising concerns for South Korean exports. Take a listen.
Trump's campaign pledges suggest significant challenges for South Korea's trade and exports. Most experts expect the situation to worsen. His election victory is likely to affect next year's current account balance.
And last year, South Korea recorded its largest ever trade surplus, with the U.S. reaching $44.4 billion. And while it's likely this record will be surpassed this year, adjustment in exports to the U.S. are expected in the future. And the Korea Institute for International Economic Policy stressed the need to quickly develop strategies to prepare for uncertainties and minimize the negative impacts of Trump's second term.
South Korea's investments in the U.S. can help reduce the U.S. trade deficit, create jobs, and support economic growth. So we should use this leverage with Trump's team to ensure that universal tariffs are applied selectively rather than to all products.
And Trump's election victory could also signal a major shift for South Korea's security landscape, with one of the concerns being the defense cost sharing for U.S. forces here in Korea.
You're absolutely right. So there are concerns that Trump may push to renegotiate the recent defense cost sharing deal between Seoul and Washington, and which is why this year's deal was sealed earlier than usual. And this follows his remarks calling South Korea a money machine and suggesting it should contribute more for U.S. troops stationed there. And in response, one expert suggests it's important to first consider Trump's foreign policy apparatus. Take a listen.
Previous Trump administration was restrained by a traditional foreign policy wing of the conservative foreign policy circles, but it will be different this time. So this Asia First approach will likely to have huge implications to the geopolitical competition in East Asia. So keenly following these new conservative policy circles is going to be the most important task for the South Korean government and intellectuals.
And regarding North Korea, as I've mentioned, many expect Trump to revive his personal diplomacy with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un to address the unresolved issues surrounding the North Korea's nuclear program. And regarding the matter, a senior official from Seoul's foreign ministry stated today that South Korea will make sure its stance is included in any discussions involving potential talks between Trump and Kim during Trump's second term.
And many are watching who will be included in his new cabinet. What's the latest here?
So it was last Thursday that Trump took his first step in forming a second-term cabinet by naming his campaign co-manager Susie Walz as his White House chief of staff. And 2 days later, Trump announced that former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo and former Republican presidential contender Nikki Haley, who is also a former UN ambassador, would not be joining his administration, signaling his preference for loyalists. And so far, Republican Representative Ellie Stefanik has been selected as UN ambassador, while Representative Michael Waltz, known for his tough stance on China, will serve as national security advisor. And Trump is also expected to appoint Marco Rubio as Secretary of State. And along with the cabinet formation, attention is also now on Trump's Day One plan, which include mass deportations of migrants and withdrawing from the Paris Climate Agreement. And meanwhile, with Republicans regaining control of the Senate and likely holding the House majority, a red sweep is expected. So with the backing across the legislative, executive, and even judicial branches, Trump is poised for a strong start to his second term.
Right, we will have to see how it all plays out. Thank you, Hayoung, for the report.
My pleasure.